You know, it's funny. I'm not even sure how to go about this video. DaBaby, rapper, Ohio native. You know him? Maybe you love him. Maybe at one time you loved him, but it seems like he's not getting quite as much love as he did when he originally broke out at about 2019 or so. And make no mistake, if you're familiar with DaBaby's trajectory, you know this dude wasn't just some kind of random overnight success or an industry plant. He had been putting in work for years with singles and tapes and projects way before the song Suge was going platinum, and he dropped his breakthrough commercial project, Baby on Baby. It's been kind of crazy to see DaBaby's slow downward trajectory over the past couple of years, especially after seeing him be one of the most in-demand feature artists really of the modern era just a little while ago. Because look, DaBaby, despite his faults and his shortcomings and his issues, he does have a charismatic delivery, an instantly recognizable voice, and a flow that at one time pretty much everybody wanted to hear or have on their record. Look, the point of this video isn't to discount DaBaby's talent or even say, hey, all that stuff that you guys thought was good, those hits, those highlights, those great features, they were actually all bad. No, I mean, those older DaBaby tracks certainly still hold weight. And for sure, there's a reason that they popped off in the first place. But as an artist in the mainstream, in order to hold that position, you can't simply get by on doing the same thing forever. Unfortunately, that's just kind of what DaBaby has been doing. It's to the point where even among his fans and supporters, it's become a bit of a meme that the dude just kind of has one flow or approaches every single song and feature with the same flow. It also doesn't really help that he doesn't have a super deep well of references or ideas to pull from when he's writing, so there's a lot of lyrical sameness across a lot of his tracks too. And this was kind of apparent from the start, as 2019's Baby on Baby did have some bangers on it, but overall a pretty one-dimensional and short-of-breath album that didn't really show a whole lot of sides of DaBaby. For the most part, a lot of the tracks on this thing kind of felt like he was trying to recreate the success of Suge over and over and over. Meanwhile, the following Kirk that he dropped in the same year seemed like it almost came from a place in retrospect of pressure to maybe try a little bit something different or evolve quickly, as he did drop some material on that record where he did get a little bit personal and reveal another side of himself, but he did not do that consistently throughout the entire album, and in a way inadvertently proved himself to be maybe more one-dimensional than we already thought he was on Baby on Baby. Then it was on Blame It on Baby where I think he really kind of solidified that, yeah, this is me, this is what I do, and I'm not going to be doing anything else. I think dropping so much samey material in such a short span of time kind of ended up killing the guy's momentum a bit. On top of that, if you look at the guy's Rate Your Music page and kind of scroll through the Appears On section, you'll see that like this man's 2020-2021 run in terms of features is actually insane. Like on the level of 2 Chainz at his creative peak when he was doing like tons of features way earlier in his career. I'm actually kind of blown away at just how many features this man churned out in this span of time, and the range of albums that he appeared on as well. As a lot of you guys might remember, he appeared on not just a ton of rap projects, but also the remix of the song Levitating from Dua Lipa's last full-length LP, which actually stands right now as being his most streamed track, or the most streamed track that he appears on. These features, combined with his albums and some of his own tracks being bona fide hits too, not just led to a lot of exposure for DaBaby, but almost like a level of overexposure to where we were all hearing him all the time so often, and each time he's kind of delivering the same flow, the same presentation, the same kind of humor, the same kind of lyrical ability, not really changing or growing or evolving in any significant way. And it feels like as a result, a lot of people just kind of got sick of the guy, or at least sick of hearing him do the same thing over and over and over again. As I said earlier, like a lot of that older stuff, those more, I guess, classic features may still hit, but at this point, as far as I can see, nobody is excited to hear DaBaby do the same thing, even if they are still receptive to his older stuff. And you begin to see that change in reception shortly after this 2020 to 2021 period, as DaBaby's feature opportunities really start drying up, and you have some kind of bad PR moves from DaBaby that, in retrospect, I just kind of wonder why he engaged in them at the time, as they really couldn't have done anything other than hurt his growing profile. Like the weird thing that he did, having Tory Lanez on stage, that kind of like, put him in a position between his and her drama at the time that he really didn't need to involve himself in. Maybe it gained him some attention in the short term, but it just made him party to a conflict that he really had nothing to do with in the first place. And obviously that soured a lot of people to him generally. There were also some homophobic comments that he made while on stage performing. It's kind of insane when the person who is the star artist on your most streamed song has to basically come out publicly and talk about how disappointed they are in you. Even if the song is still up and streaming for people to hear, it's not a great look. If there was one good thing to come out of this cancellation, it's that DaBaby actually brought a new flow to his appearance on Kanye West's Donda when it dropped at the time.
Try to tell me how to talk, don't know what I seen when I was talking. My mom worked 2 jobs to take care of 3 kids. My uncle's watches, we was raised by the crackhead.
Whoa, a different flow from DaBaby? I feel like if we keep going, we're going to cancel DaBaby into like 3 or 4 new flows.
Again, through this time, the amount of exposure and crossover opportunities DaBaby has had have just kind of dried up. I mean, the biggest of which as of late has been that collab album he did with Youngboy Never Broke Again, who, while popular, stands also in a similarly lonely place in the music industry just because of how, I guess, volatile he's perceived to be, as well as confrontational. Which brings us to DaBaby's 2022 record, Baby on Baby 2, which it's kind of weird to come out with a sequel to your breakout album just a few years later. Reads sort of as an act of desperation in a way, because like at this point in your career where you're so young and you're still at a point where you should be changing and growing, it's weird to, I guess, kind of throw your hands up and acknowledge, yeah, my best project, and maybe my best project ever, is this one I dropped a few years ago, and I have to go back and reference it in order to get you interested. At least Nicki Minaj waited at least a decade to put out Pink Friday 2. But no, Baby on Baby 2 album, not just like some weird mixtape in a mixtape series, just a few years later. And as far as the fans are concerned, seemingly it's his worst received album to date. And from what I heard of it, there wasn't really anything new or refreshing on that thing at all. And as DaBaby's star has fallen, so has the quality of his music. Because with some of his recent tracks, the mixing has been so bad you could barely even hear the instrumental. DaBaby's memes have kind of shifted as well in a weird way. Oh, Jesus Christ. To sum this video up, DaBaby has fallen off. And, it doesn't necessarily need to be that way. I mean, he could come back around to a point where what he does is more about the music than it is about his antics, or him just like kind of presenting himself as silly. He could actually start, switching up his flows and presenting some different content in his rhymes. Because at the end of the day, as many of his fans and people across the internet have noted, his sound, his everything is just kind of staled out. And I think he just needs to bring a little bit more variation to the table to maybe gain some more interest once again. DaBaby is far from the first artist in the modern rap industry to be, I don't know, kind of repetitive or redundant or predictable. Maybe he's more predictable than an NBA Youngboy or a Lil Baby, but we're not talking a night and day difference here. So I think there could be potential in maybe a DaBaby comeback if he, turns the ship around, or just kind of turns the ship at 18 degrees in any direction, tries something maybe a little new and sticks with it, puts maybe some more depth or personal content in his music, as he has successfully done before. But whether or not any of that happens remains to be seen. I mean, the message from the audience is loud and clear. You are doing too much of the same thing. And as long as DaBaby continues to do that, I think he is going to stay fallen off. Thank you very much for watching. What do you think about DaBaby falling off or this video? Do you agree, disagree? Let me know in the comments. Over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, DaBaby, forever.